Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama. Parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
You know, I said I was going to eat healthy today, and then I went to lunch with you, and you ordered meatloaf, and I had to order it too.
And then we nearly had to fist fight to see who got to the bathroom first after it was over.
I want to go to sleep.
It ran through me like shit through a goose. Guys,
You've got on poop shoes today too.
I do.
You know what poop shoes are? If somebody's in the bathroom and you see those shoes, you're like, oh, that's Scott.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That might have been an inappropriate joke.
So guys, got big news to report. Came down here Sunday with my beautiful wife. We stopped by Flowers Estates to see the new house and let her hold that baby, which she dominated that, didn't she?
The whole time.
I mean, she
got at one time. Laurel said, "You need to go rescue Kim," and Scott was like, "She doesn't need to be rescued.
No,
she doesn't want to be rescued."
This is all she's talked about for 3 months. She said we left. She said, "I'm glad I got my baby fix. Guys,
I will never walk back in that house. No.
Oh, no. Beautiful home. Guys, I got big news to report today. Sometimes in life, ladies and gentlemen, things happen and your purpose in life, your purpose for living just becomes abundantly clear in a fraction of a second, in a lightning bolt. And since I have been here, my wife and I are staying down at the beach on Orange Beach in a condo that is on the Gulf of Mexico. My purpose in life has become abundantly clear, and I want to go ahead and talk about it for just a second. So I'm going to be going back home up to the North Alabama area, selling my house, selling my agency. I won't be podcasting anymore, that's for sure. I am moving to Orange Beach because, ladies and gentlemen, as of yesterday, you are looking at a certified shark fisherman. I went yesterday to a bait and tackle shop in Orange Beach, Alabama, and I said, I want the rig and I want you to set it up because I am catching a 5-foot to 6-foot shark. You know what I did all night last night, Bradley? Shark fished all night from the beach.
Really?
Yes. So I'm going to tell y'all what the rig is. Now, first thing you need to know, write this down, everybody listening. Write this down. Bigger the bait, bigger the fish. Got to have the right bait. You need a pin. You need a pin open-faced or bait caster reel, and it can't be like what you fish in your granddaddy's pond with at the house. It's got to have some mojo, okay? Here's the next thing you're going to have. Write this down. You need 65-pound braided line, okay? You basically are going to be hauling in a Ford F-150, okay? So we're not fishing for brim or bass.
Did you catch anything?
Hold on.
Okay, sorry.
Went out on the beach last night, 7 p.m., still light outside. I told all them parents at the beach down there behind all those condos, I said, let me tell you something. A professional shark fisherman is here. Get you and your mean-ass kids and go back up to the condo. Y'all have had plenty of time on the beach today. It's over. Go back up there. If you want to fish or look for crabs tonight, either stay down there or stay down there. Do not get near me. I fished last night for a shark. I think I came in at 11 o'clock last night, from 7 to 11. Now I'm using a fish for bait, Bradley, that's as big as nearly a Nerf football, that big, okay? Now, the first thing that's going to happen if Fish and Wildlife pulls up on me, I'm going to say, I'm just fishing for local fish, okay? And they're going to say to me, oh, no problem, keep fishing. But before you do, would you mind reeling that line in that's 100 yards out in the ocean? And I'm going to reel it in, and I'm going to keep reeling it in, and I'm going to keep reeling it in. And when I get it in, and because I've got a 5-ounce triangle lead weight on it that's free floating. But when I reel that son of a bitch in and he sees the hook that's on this bait fish,
You're going to go to jail.
I'm going to get a ticket. Because you can't, that's where it stops, right? When you've got a hook, y'all, that is probably, if you straightened it, it'd probably be 5-6 inches long. You ain't fishing for local bait
So
fish.
did you catch a shark?
I nearly caught probably 3. I had 4 or 5 bait fish I used last night that when I reeled it in were cut completely in half. But I will, ladies and gentlemen, mark my words, I will catch a shark before I leave. And it will be on video.
I went shark fishing one time when I was about 13 years old with my dad and a group of guys, and I caught about a 3-foot.
There you go.
3-foot, I think, black tip shark. I'm pretty sure. I still have his jaws at the house.
Let me give everybody another pointer. Now, when I'm going to start doing these as a kind of a package deal. You come stay in Orange Beach, you can go out and beach fish with me for shark. Now, last thing I'm going to say, then we have a rock star guest we got to bring on the show today, dear friend of mine, and he is a wealth of information because he is, unlike myself, not white trash, and he's also extremely smart, unlike myself. Last tip I'm going to give you for shark fishing from the beach, okay? First thing you do, when you cast out, you got to go out. If you've got a drone, that's the ticket. You'll catch as many as you want. I don't have a drone because I'm poor white trash. But for those of you that have a drone, if you can connect that hook and that bait fish to that drone and fly it out about 300 yards, you're money right there. That's money. But when you cast out and you take your rod and reel and you put it in your holder that goes in the sand, you want to take your drag and take it almost as light as it will possibly go. Because when a shark takes that bait and puts it in his mouth before the hook sets, he's going to start like dragging it out. And if he feels any tension on that line, he's just going to let it go and go away. So do not set your drag very hard if you're going to be shark fishing from the beach. But anyway, expert shark fisher, if anybody has any questions, call me, text me, email me. Be happy to tell you how to become an expert in shark fishing. Now, here comes our all-star guest today, and I'm so blessed to have him on this show. He is originally from Burlington, Massachusetts, and he currently resides in Westwood, Massachusetts. That's hard to say for a boy from Alabama. He is married to the beautiful Megan, and they have not one, but 2 beautiful babies, Cal and Brooks. He is a graduate of Bentley College, and he was the, I guess, current CEO of Tarmica. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute, which, if I'm not mistaken, was purchased by Applied Systems. And he grew up outside of Boston, Massachusetts, and he and his father owned an insurance agency for 20 years. In 2021, his dad sold out to the Hub Group, but that agency is why he started Tarmica. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor today to introduce to you, second time, third time guest on the IGP, my friend, Mr. Raghav Tanna. How are you, Raghav?
Doing great. I think I enjoy being here every time a little bit more. And that was the best story you've told on any podcast yet. So I enjoyed that one the most.
Listen, it takes a lot to be an expert beach shark fisherman. Now, what it doesn't take a lot of is when there are so many sharks swimming up and down the beach in Orange Beach right now because of some reason. There's different theories to why this is. You could just about jump on the back of one and ride one. So I'm kind of, you ever heard of the old country saying about fishing with dynamite? That's about what I'm doing down in Orange Beach. So we saw a couple yesterday morning in the water, took a few pictures of those, but I told Kim, I said, let me tell you something. Before I leave this week, I am catching a shark, I am videotaping it, and I just pray to God it's not a 10 or 12 footer, because I really don't want to wrap up with something that big, right? Like you want to fight, but you don't want to fight that son of a gun when he gets out of the truck and he's 6'8", 270 pounds and looks like a Bowflex model, right? You want to fight the little guy. That's kind of what I'm about. I want about a 3-footer. So
I'm an Indian guy from Massachusetts. I know nothing about shark fishing.
So, hey, Rogoff, we got a lot to talk about today. Tell us first and foremost, we got a lot of ground to cover. I want to know, by the way, never got my T-shirt. We'll talk about that later. I want to know how this transition has gone. I know that seems like yesterday, but I believe it was about what, Bradley? A year ago, year and a half ago?
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago. Time flies,
2
man.
years ago.
We had the big sale, and talk to us a little bit about what's happened since then, and just kind of bring all of our audience up to today.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. Actually, 2 years this week that we sold to Applied, and I will send you a T-shirt. It's hard to get a T-shirt made in that size, so I've had to go to a few different places. No one said yes yet.
Got a story about
Take
that.
2 T-shirts and sew them together.
So
That might be the only way to do it at this point.
Rogoff, I'm a big old boy. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. I just got through with my Hamilton guys weekend trip, and I've got one of my 12 friends that go on that trip he drops in there, y'all. He's 6'3", and he drops in there at $4.50. And I text messaged him. I said, "Post, what size T-shirt you wear?" He said, "Well, I can wear a 4X, but a 5X feels better."
That's how I am with large and extra large.
Exactly. And I said, "Post, do you understand what it's going to take to get a 5X T-shirt made? That's like draperies." Anyway, go ahead, Rogoff.
That's a big T-shirt. No, I listen. It's been 2 years, and it's been awesome. It really is. I mean, Applied is an amazing company, as you guys know. I'm not just saying that because, of course, like if I didn't feel that way in a few days, I could just leave, right?
Sure.
And I have no interest in doing that. It's cool to see something that you built go into a company like Applied, and for there to be a machine around it that essentially says, "Hey, we can do more with this. We could probably be better," and the idea just blossoms from there. The combination of Tarmica and Indio and all the other commercial lines things they're doing, it all just comes together at some point. And that's essentially what we've been working on for the last few years. So I've been busy. I've had fun doing it. And I think for the most part, everyone will tell you once you get acquired, it's like, okay, I'm ready to do the next thing.
Right.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Never satisfied, but never. Yeah, you'll never say I'm never leaving, but it's a cool place to be. It's cool to see your company grow into something bigger and combine with all these other resources out there. And I have no complaints, which I think is hard to find for most people that sell a company.
I have a question that's very important, very, very important question. Has your bourbon collection gotten bigger or smaller since the acquisition?
So my bourbon collection was at an all-time low during diligence. You drink a lot. You drink a lot during diligence. Bradley, when you sell the agency in a couple of years, you'll know.
Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, for all of you agency owners listening to this, that sentiment, just put air quotes around that. That's exactly what's going to happen to you when you go through diligence of selling your agency.
So I have some numbers on your bottles because you told me a while back. But Scott,
boy.
You saw my bourbon collection
I did.
2 nights
Beautiful.
ago.
Beautiful.
Pretty nice size collection.
Be proud of it.
I have 27 bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Raghav, tell everybody how many bottles your wife
Yeah.
told you had. What was that, like a year ago?
Well, I know how many I have now. I don't remember what it was a year ago because she tells me all the time how many I have left. I'm currently at 142 bottles.
Hey, what year did you graduate from Bragg School? I'm teasing. I'm joking.
Wasn't it like 900 or something? Didn't she?
900 bottles?
Yeah, or it was some kind of ridiculous. Maybe it was 90 something.
It was 90 something. I had 90 something bottles at one
What's
point.
your favorite? Which one is your favorite?
Parker's Heritage 10 is the greatest bourbon that's ever been made.
What's
that's a step out.
What's
but okay.
the rarest one you have? What's the one you have that when somebody walks in there, they're gonna go, ooh? And by the way, I'm coming to Boston later this year, so I'm doing market research.
Yeah, and you're gonna stop by the house too, so you can drink a little bit. The rarest one I have is still the Pappy.
Yeah, 23.
I got the Pappy 15, and that's the rarest one I'll have. I don't think I'll ever beat that. But I've drank all of them. So like everyone says I have a big collection. It's not really a collection because they're all open.
Yeah, same.
Other than like 8 bottles, they're all open.
I think I've got 2 that aren't open. So it's funny, and when I take people to mine, because I've got a bottle of Pappy 12, I've got the Heaven Hill 20 year, I've got the Rare Character Exceptional Series, which is popular but kind of hard to find. And people look at my collection and I say, guess which bottle up there is the best one? And they never guess it. It's a Jack Daniel's twice barreled special release rye that is absolutely fun. And you would never guess, the Jack Daniel's tastes the best. It is phenomenal. And I bought it on a whim. I went to Alabama, does a bourbon lottery 4 times a year, and the December lottery is the biggest one. And they have the biggest selection. And there's so much like high end stuff that a lot of the good like mid tier stuff just gets completely looked over. And I was just walking through grabbing stuff and I saw it and it was like $39.99 or something and I just grabbed it and opened it, not really liking rye, but it ended up, it's phenomenal.
Hey guys.
Rye is good.
Hey guys.
Rye is real good.
Yeah, sorry.
I hate to interrupt you.
I'm done nerding out.
No, I hate to interrupt you, but this is a beautiful segue into introducing this week's sponsor of the Insurance Guys podcast. Guys, today's episode is sponsored by Eagle Rare, bottled at Buffalo Trace. Guys, listen to me. When you're in the middle of selling your agency and the buyer offers you a Snickers bar and a pack of Nabisco wafers, reach for Eagle Rare. Reach for Eagle Rare each and every night during the discovery phase of buying your agency. And you will not only thank me, you'll thank the Insurance Guys podcast. Eagle Rare, the best bourbon money can buy.
Why are you not a voiceover actor?
I don't know. No, I'm serious, guys. My favorite, and I know, I mean, we could, if we lined up 200 bourbon drinkers in here, and most insurance agents are, let's just be real honest with each other for a minute. I think a lot of insurance agents drink bourbon. Not all of them, but a lot of them. My favorite's Eagle Rare, and it's so funny. I walked into Bradley's house the other night, and that's what he was drinking, was Eagle Rare. And that was the ABC.
It was a store pick.
Store pick.
So
my boy's drinking my alcohol there.
yeah. Before we go into some of the other things you're doing right now, how has the Applied partnership sort of beefed up Tarmica? How has that improved, whether the user experience or carrier side of things? How has that improved? Because it seems like it has on my end as a user, but from a like nuts and bolts on the back end, what have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing here is carriers, right? Ivans has extensive relationships with carriers. So we essentially moved all of our carrier integrations through Ivans, and they've built out these relationships with everybody. That improves the workflow for agencies. The integrations are better, they're stronger, they're more consistent than what we had previously. I think the bigger part really is we were small commercial, right? So if you were writing a bigger policy, you can't use Tarmica. The ability to take that data and decide whether it's going to Tarmica or Indio in a single flow and make things easier, that's huge. So to essentially say you can now have all your submissions run through an applied systems tool is huge, because our agencies would complain like, hey, we have a $50,000 premium account. Tarmica is not right for that, but their workers' comp can go through Tarmica. Like this flow is broken. So to be able to combine those two is huge.
So how does that work with Indio? Because I don't know. I told somebody last week.
Are you saying Indium?
Indio.
Indio. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I told somebody last week who was on Applied. I said, look, I don't know anything about Indio, but everybody I know that uses it absolutely loves it.
Wow.
So how does the Tarmica Indio, how does that work?
Yeah, so the way that we built it, which is it's released for cyber, it's being released for cyber in the next couple of weeks here. The way that it works is you can essentially go through the Tarmica flow, the new version of Tarmica, which is built within Epic. We still have the existing version of Tarmica as well. But the new version of Epic that's built within Epic, you can go through that entire flow, and some carriers could quote it. And the ones that can't, it'll actually create the Indio form for you and say, hey, we can't do this via API, but you can take these forms and email them to the carriers, and they're already pre-filled to X percentage and all that stuff. So it just speeds up your entire processing time by tying the two systems together.
Cool.
Love it.
Well, tell us. Let's talk about the reason we're here. Tell us. Go
Wait
ahead.
1 second.
Yeah.
1 second. I had one last question related to Tarmica because, and I know a lot of this was going on during the sale and before the sale, but it seems like since that sale over the past 2 years, and especially the past 6 months, the hot button topic in technology across the country, not just in insurance, but especially in insurance today, is AI. And I didn't know if since the sale, because AI has become so mainstream and go to Twitter, everybody's talking about AI. Is there more AI functionality going on with Tarmica and other platforms that, that's on Applied, or is that not really, affected that yet?
So, I mean, not yet. It will. I think there's a lot of interesting machine learning AI capabilities that will come into Tarmica and other systems within Applied. I mean, we're always looking at it, right? I think that'll be huge. I think the market itself is a little bit inundated with AI, and I don't know if it's necessarily all real or not. I would probably guess that it's not. You got to clean through some of the muck first, and like with any new technology initiative, there's going to be a whole bunch of companies saying they can do one thing, but it's not always what it seems, right?
Correct.
I mean, I know this. Every founder does it. I did it all the time. What the founder says they can do is like maybe 10% of what the tool actually does.
Right.
I'll give myself credit and say we did like 13% of what I said we could do, but like the tools out there today that people are talking about aren't nearly where they should be.
Right.
And I think we won't actually see a huge growth in the insurance sector for another year or two.
But when it comes, it feels like, I didn't say it will be like, I'm saying it feels like, based on all the chatter and the, as I said on a tweet the other night, word around the campfire, that when it comes, it's going to be coming like a Category 5 hurricane.
It'll be big. I mean, if you look at the gross written premiums in the next couple of years in insurance, right, it's going from 6.1 trillion in 2020. I think next year they're estimating 7.5 trillion in gross written premium. You can't possibly see that level of growth and not have technology investments by agencies and carriers. And it's all going to be going to AI. So there's going to be tools out there, and they're going to come in like a Category 5 hurricane. But you can't grow like that without technology tools being adopted.
So one of the reasons, and is probably the most important reason that we wanted you on this show today, and this was something that I didn't even know about, but Bradley he's told me quite a bit about what's going on. But talk to our listening audience a little bit about this foundation that you've set up. And I jumped on a Facebook post the other night to kind of find out a little bit more about it. But can give us a little backstory and then talk to us a little bit about the foundation and what's going on with it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That was one of the big things for me. So after the acquisition, 1 year after the acquisition, I had a second son who was born, and he was born with something called Apert syndrome. So it's 1 in 100,000, 1 in 80,000, 1 in 100,000. The numbers are all different, but essentially what it means is your bones fuse early. So his skull bones fuse early, his hand bones fuse early. He's going through a whole bunch of surgeries. So 1 year into life, he just turned 1 recently. He's already had 3 surgeries. He's got 2 more this year. They have to, open up his hands to give him fingers and do a couple head surgeries. So he's been going through the ringer. But I remember when he was born, they sent us to the NICU in Boston. So we left the hospital we were at. I had to go to the NICU in Boston by myself with this newborn, and we had no idea what was going on. I ended up spending about 4 weeks there. Went to Children's a whole bunch, stayed in Children's a whole bunch. And man, you look around and you see all these families.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, like, I'm not trying to be cocky when I say this. Like, if I wasn't in the position I was in after selling Tarmica, I don't know how we would have made it. It's expensive.
Yeah.
There's no way families can afford to take care of kids with all these medical complexities, all these complications. I remember listening to a couple families there talking about it and saying, we can't take our kids home. And that was, my wife is actually the real person behind all of this, but it was like, hey, we can do something. Personally, through a bigger group, through our networks, we can do something and say any family born with a kid that has medical complexities should at least be able to afford the care, because the emotional burden is brutal, but the financial burden is arguably worse.
Correct.
So we started the foundation called Little Sparks Project, and all we do is we give families grants when they have children with medical complexities and they have financial needs, which there's a lot of. So we've already helped a few families. We've written checks to a few families, and it's only been 6 months since we started. But it's one of those things, guys. Like, I'm never satisfied with what I've done professionally. I don't think I ever will be, which is probably a bad thing. But this is a purpose, right? Like, you can make as much money as you want, but this for me was something that was like, you can make a huge difference in the world, and I'm going to do that if I can.
Well, I'll attest to that too. You know, Cal was in the hospital, our youngest, for 2 weeks, Children's and Women's Hospital here. And the amount of kids there, just on the floor that we were on, we never went on another floor, that were there with like 2 years old with no parents there because mom and dad are working. Like, they've got to keep things afloat. You know, they can't have a kid in the hospital and then their house get foreclosed on, you know? And it honestly made me think about what you were doing and made me that much more passionate about it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you,
I mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was I say? I mean, you're spot on. You think about all of the kids that don't even have their parents there. That was probably the hardest part for us, is we were seeing all these kids, and my wife and I were there every day because we were fortunate. I mean, talk about why I'm still at Applied. One of the biggest reasons that I will be committed to Applied is not just the work. I love the work. I love the people. I love the team. When this happened, I mean, the amount of support you get is unbelievable. If I didn't show up for work for a year, I don't think anyone would have questioned me. I probably would have questioned me, but I don't think anyone else would have.
Yeah.
So when we get towards the end of this podcast, Bradley, please do not forget to remind me to give out. If anybody listening to this, maybe, you know, you've got a few shekels in your pocket and you've done well with your agency, please give if you can. And it's right. Rav didn't ask me to say that. He didn't get on here and be like, oh, I know there's insurance carriers who've actually given to this foundation. Is that right? Is that right, Raghav?
We have agencies, we have carriers that are both giving. Yeah.
I want to give out that information so these people can help you.
What's the constraint though? Because I remember you telling me a couple months ago that the issue wasn't necessarily the money; it was the families.
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, you know, this is probably another good problem to have. We can raise money and we can get more money, and I think that's actually been relatively easy. We want people to attend the gala in December, which I'll talk about at the end. But we want to get in front of families in need. We go to every hospital. We talk to a bunch of hospitals. And we tell them to put a pamphlet out. We tell them to put our information out because we know families need. And that's what's really hard. So like if people know people in need and you're related to someone in need, I mean, I think there's medical complexities in almost every family.
Right.
Whether it's a couple of weeks in the NICU or something like that, there's always something going on. But if it's a complex situation and there's a financial need due to a complex situation, we want those families to reach out.
Yep.
That's what we really care about. I appreciate you saying that. I mean, you know, it's always good to get more money to help these guys, but we want every family to apply. We want as many as humanly possible.
So
I may have a family for you. I'll talk to you about when we get off the air.
Yeah. So the only reason I'm not bawling my eyes out right now, because Bradley can attest that I can start crying at the drop of a hat.
Sometimes I wonder if it's acting. It's so good.
Well, the only reason I'm not right now is because, and I wanted to tell all the agents listening to this, some time ago, this was about, I guess, 7, 8 years ago, my sister was actually, she got all the brains and looks in the family. She was on the board of directors in Birmingham for the Ronald McDonald House. And she reached out to me in October of one of those years, and she said, hey, Scott, I know you're at that time, I don't remember what I was doing, but she said, we have a spot open where to sponsor our Christmas time deal over at the Ronald McDonald House. And so we hired a Santa Claus. We bought presents to take to the families and some of the children and really more siblings of the families staying at the Ronald McDonald House. Now, I say all this to say this. I get there the first year and I start talking to some of these families, and you want to talk about breaking your heart. I mean, been over there at UAB's pediatric hospital for 6 months, 5 months, a year, that kind of stuff. And I was going to say, agree with everything the two of you guys have said. And for the agents listening to this, if you're in a large city that has a hospital, that has a Ronald McDonald House, and you have a chance, or you can call the board of directors or somebody there to see if you can sponsor their Christmas, bring in Santa Claus presents for those people. I will promise you this. I'm going to promise you this. And this is the only reason I'm not crying, because I've already been there, done that, got the T-shirt. It will change your life. It will change your life. You want to talk about having gratitude? Go over there, hand out presents to these people, talk to them, and hear their story. Because more than likely, they've got a child who has been up there at that hospital for months and months and months at a time. Some with cancer, some with meningitis. I mean, all kinds of illnesses. You can imagine leukemia, all this stuff. I'll promise you, it'll be the best Christmas you've ever had, and it will change your life for the better. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. It's the truth.
It's a fact. I think helping people and hearing their story and sympathizing with them, it changes your life entirely. I mean, this is by far the best thing that I've ever done. Yep. And it's a good feeling, but it makes you realize how lucky you are
100%.
A lot of the times.
100%.
Man, I have never felt so fortunate in my life. And I mean, he's had 3 surgeries, he's got 2 more coming up. And I'm lucky, because that's nothing compared to what some of these other people have to deal with.
Yep. And I say it all the time. Most of these folks listening to this podcast, if I filled a gymnasium up with people and put a 50-gallon hefty garbage can in the middle and said, here, write your problems on this piece of paper, or your big problem, and stick it in that garbage can, 99% of them would go get theirs out and be like, nope, never mind. I thought I had a problem. I don't have a problem. But these folks with little kids in these hospitals and going through what you're going through right now, my heart goes out to you and your wife, man. It is a tough, long, slogging road, but one day it'll be better. That's what you got to keep telling yourself. One day it'll be better.
You gotta stay positive, right? You never stop staying positive.
That's right.
You do what's best, and you make the most out of every situation, which is all you can really do.
Rogoff, I got something else I want to talk to you about before we get off this podcast. But when we got on here, I told you I find you to be a very smart individual, somebody I look up to in the industry, as Poor White Trash from Alabama, as somebody who knows what they're talking about, intelligent, smart, kind of has your finger on the pulse in the industry. What's going on in the insurance industry today?
Before we do that, let him talk about the gala real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize.
Talk about the gala real quick.
My bad. Johnny can edit that out too, what I said, and then go straight to this, if you don't mind, Johnny. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we're doing a gala on December 19th for Little Sparks Project. We're doing it at the State Room in Boston, and essentially all of the money raised from this event is going to go to kids. Is going to go directly to kids. So the way we're doing that is when this podcast drops, so when this gets released, from that day for the next 14 days, my wife and I are going to match every ticket sale. So every single ticket sale, it's $500 a ticket, up to, I don't care if it's 500 tickets sold, we're matching every one of them. So however many tickets are sold from there on out, we're going to match every one of them. And hopefully people buy in those 14 days. Like I said, we're doing that so we can make sure that the gala is paid for by me and my wife, and all of these dollars are going to go directly to families that are in need. So I hope everyone will join us. It's Thursday. It's in December. It's the best time to give. It's the best time to do what you need to do, and it'll be a great day. It's the #1 venue in Boston, so you can't really beat the views.
And I understand everybody that buys a ticket gets 1 hour of Matt Namoli's time. Is that accurate?
Heck yeah.
You know what, I think I can commit to that on this call. On this podcast. Matt Namoli, you are going to dedicate an hour of your time to every single person that buys a ticket.
I love it.
600 people, man.
I can confirm what he's saying is true, by the way.
Where do they get? Where do people go to get tickets?
So people can get tickets on littlesparksproject.org's website. There's a gala tab there, and you can buy tickets directly there. Like I said, they may be expensive, but it's going to the right people, and it's helping a lot of people.
Who are some of the sponsors, and who are some of the folks that are going to be there?
Yeah, so hey, we have a lot of insurance people coming. So Applied Systems is a sponsor. We have Hub, we have Arbella as sponsors right now. We have Legacy Advisors, which is an M&A firm in the insurance space. They're a sponsor of ours. I'm sure other people know a lot more about the sponsorships than I do. All I really know is that people should show up to the event. But we have a lot. I mean, as you can imagine, due to the networks that I have, that some of our board members have. So Ron Schroyer, who's now CERT official, he's a board member of Little Sparks Project. It's all insurance people. So
it's basically going to be
the
an
reason I'm
insurance
on this
conference.
podcast talking about a foundation is because every person I know is in insurance or insurance technology. So the people coming to this event are in insurance or insurance technology. So, and those are the types of people that we're going to have there.
You mentioned December. Do you guys have a firm date for the gala yet, or is it just kind of tentative?
December 19th at 6 p.m. At the State Room in Boston. Yeah, so firm date is committed.
I'm going to do my dead level best to be there. Do y'all have room for a redneck from Alabama?
I'm going.
He and his white trash wife to come, or will there be security there that'll be like, hey, there's a Red Roof Inn about 3 miles down if y'all want to go to that? Is that kind of how that'll work? Or
Probably.
Yeah,
I need you to come, but I also need you to be the security as well.
No, I'm gonna come. You know, I think what your gala's missing, guys. Let me tell you this: what the gala in Boston is missing is a expert in the field of beach shark fishing. And I got an answer for that. His name is Scott Howell.
You're going to be serving shark.
Now, he's about to sell his agency and quit podcasting, but I'll tell you one thing, I will have a hell of a tan when I get there. I might be orange by the time I get there. I'm going to be so dark. But
like Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation.
You're going to be as dark as me?
Exactly. I'm definitely going to try to make it, and I'll look at my calendar. My phone's on airplane mode. I don't want to look at it right now, but I definitely want to try to come up because, number one, I love coming to Boston. It's your favorite city, isn't it, Bradley? Boston? Isn't that your favorite city in the world?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
In the U.S., in the continental U.S.?
Probably. I mean, Boston and New York are really close.
That and Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge.
I hate Pigeon Forge.
I got him started. Here he goes.
I'm more of a history buff, so I tend to lean towards Boston. I like Boston. Never had a bad time there. Yeah.
Right. And would you go stay?
You won't this time either. It's the best place to be.
Bradley, question. Would you rather go to Kabul, Afghanistan and stay in a tent that I made for 4 days or go to Pigeon Forge, Alabama? Which one would you rather do?
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Tennessee, excuse me.
Do I live? Are you guaranteeing me that I live going to Tennessee?
Yeah. We're going to have security. We'll have like Blackwater and a bunch of people, Humvees.
I'll go to Afghanistan.
Before you go to Pigeon Forge. Did you hate it that bad?
I hate it. I hate it so much.
All right.
It's terrible.
Now, Bradley, let me know something.
We insure a lot of houses there, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
So here it is. Can I ask Rogov my question?
Go right ahead. Yeah. You're allowed.
You're smart. You're a smart man. A lot smarter than me. Talk to me about what you see, what's going on in the insurance industry right now, besides this overwhelming, like, just AI everything's AI. I'm sure the McKinsey report's getting ready to come out with, well, it didn't happen in 2012 when we said it would, but this AI stuff is doing away with insurance agencies. What do you think, Rogov? What's the newest and latest in the industry?
So every 5 years, you're going to get a report that says insurance agencies are going away.
Correct.
My guess is that report's coming in February of 25. So I made that bet here. It's going to say it again in February 25, and it's going to be wrong for the 7th time.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it's every few years, right? So it's going to be wrong again. I think here's the only thing that I think is accurate right now that's happening in the insurance industry that's factual, right? There are so many agencies that are getting acquired right now. There are so many smaller agencies that are in some roll-up models they're selling. But there's also so many new ones. There's so many new startup agencies that are coming in. So the number is never actually decreasing all that much. So it's one of those industries, it's one of those things for insurance agencies where I don't think the number of agencies is ever going to grow all that much beyond 40,000. I also don't think it's going to shrink all that much below 40,000. I think it just kind of stays consistent over time, no matter how many acquisitions happen. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's right. They're necessary. I've done enough in the technology world now. I've worked at Applied long enough. I've started an insurance technology company for agencies. Customers don't know what they're doing. It's really confusing. I've been in insurance and I don't know anything about insurance. Like I still have an agent, even though I feel like I know enough to not have an agent, right?
Yeah.
You need someone. If someone's not doing that every day for you, something will go wrong. It's almost guaranteed.
Well, I'll tell
whether it's your house or business.
I'll tell you too. You know, we had a carrier a few years ago. I was doing a lot of Facebook ads a few years ago and got really good at them, and we were generating a ton of leads. I had a carrier a few years ago that gave me the ability to put a link where customers could bind their own homeowners insurance via a Facebook ad. Nobody did it. And it wasn't because my ads weren't working, because I could run the same ad and say, hey, get a quote, and people would fill the information out. And I think the consumer realizes that that's a much more important purchase than buying car insurance online. And my synopsis at that time was, I think we're a good solid decade away from people at scale buying more important insurance products online.
You know what
Have you ever purchased anything worth that much online though?
No.
So
Right, it's your house.
Yeah.
Right off, here two things. One thing I've always said is we can't even be trusted to put our correct weight on a driver's license. Okay, factual. We just can't. But yet we're going to let people buy online. Now, I will say this: for the past since 2017 on this podcast, I have been so bullish about all the reasons why people shouldn't be able to buy insurance online. Like if I want to buy a T-shirt that says I sold this company for millions of dollars and all Scott got was this shitty T-shirt from Amazon, that's great. But guess what? There's no liability component associated with that T-shirt, right? Or toaster, or whatever it is, vacuum cleaner. I've actually, Bradley, as I've grown as a human being, becoming an expert beach shark fisherman, as I've grown as a human being and my maturity level has increased, I've actually decided that I actually want people to buy insurance online. Might want to clip this, Rand. The reason I say that is because when their shit burns down and they don't have coverage, or they have an accident and have to file for bankruptcy, whatever the case may be, there's one indelible fact about them buying insurance online that it was left out of my equation that is now, through my growth as a human being and becoming an expert beach shark fisherman, I've realized they can't call Scott and bitch about it.
Yeah.
Therefore, go ahead, general public. Where's my camera? Is that my camera? Hey, guys, if you're on Facebook and you're watching this right now, buy all the insurance you want online. Just don't call me screaming and yelling about it when it's not covered.
Well, what you said, a lot of insurance agents always have this like anti-DTC mantra. And my stance has always been, I think the direct consumer carriers are fine because it gets rid of a lot of the problem clients. Mm-hmm. And the one big problem, especially a home insurance DTC carrier like Ken has, is adverse selection. You get all the people with roof problems. You get all the people that the house is fault. It eliminates almost all of that, and the better customers are going to call you.
Did you know that Progressive will provide your agency with hot leads of people that got on there, and nobody wants it because they're all garbage when you get them?
We get them all the time.
Yeah. So. And what did Lemonade? Aren't they direct to consumer? What did they lose this last quarter? Was it quarter?
79 billion, I think, or 79 million.
I thought it was 57.
It may be.
How much is it? Rand, look that up on your phone. How much did Lemonade lose? Anyway,
I got it right here.
So you feel like it's going to be longer before insurance agents are replaced by artificial intelligence robots then maybe the McKinsey report will come out in February.
Lemonade lost $57.2 million in just the second quarter of 2024, but that's numbers compared to a loss of $67.2 million from the second quarter of last year. So they're getting better. They're figuring it out.
They get just about that one more year, and they're going to be down to 47 million.
Well, I do think I do have a hot take.
Clip.
I do think we, especially in more cat-prone areas, I do think, and this may be 20 years, and I would love to get Rag's take on this. I do think, from as far as personal lines goes, we are steamrolling into a world where a large percentage of homeowners insurance is force-placed.
Right.
Where you get the mortgage and the insurance is just included, almost like PMI. Now, the problem with that is if it's one carrier doing it, or the mortgage company owns that carrier, you run into a problem similar to like what Citizens runs into in Florida. But I do think as the years progress, we're going to see more and more of that. People who can't get insurance from a private market just rolling with the force-placed insurance. I do think that is a significant thing that could happen in the future.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with this. I mean, I think insurance companies' job is to be profitable.
Correct.
And these cat risks are not going to make them profitable. So, I mean, they don't really have a choice. There's one of two things that's going to happen. They're going to stop covering a lot of these storms, which is just nature of it.
Just excluded. Excluded in the policy. Just excluded.
Just excluded in the policy, or it's going to be what Bradley just said. It's going to be forced coverage through the state, through something else, through, and it won't be covered. It won't be 80% coinsurance anymore. It'll, maybe covered 50%. I don't see a world where an insurance company is going to say, yeah, we don't need to be profitable anymore.
Yeah.
And we're going to write this 100% and just cover it. And there's going to be a storm and something bad's going to happen and they're still paying for it. I just don't see it happening.
The flip side of that is you also are going to have, which we have now, is you're going to have some regionals that just want to roll the dice for 8 years and say, hey, we're going to be a regional that's going to cover cat areas, which we have here. And those companies change hands like every 5 or 6 years, so that's what would happen in that scenario where you have a large state-owned force-placed insurance company is you would have one or two regionals that say, yeah, we're willing to roll the dice, and see how long we can float it. So I don't know that you'll ever have a situation where there aren't companies that quote that write that stuff, but the profitability is going to be the big question. And the long-term viability.
So I know I'm just a redneck from Alabama, but I do have the answer to all your prayers. Is everybody ready? Where's my camera, Rand? Is it right there? Okay. Look,
the one that's pointing at you.
Insurance carrier CEOs, I need y'all to listen to this and realize that I live in Pine Ridge, Alabama, population 79, but I'm about to fix all your problems, okay? Number one, we obviously increased deductibles, which they're already in the process, every carrier of doing this. So in the early 90s, late 80s, most people on a homeowner's policy in Alabama had like a $250 deductible. Then when I got into the biz in I think it was 2008, deductibles were.
Rag just texted me. He's got to go in a second.
Oh, okay. Like 500. Okay, $500. Today we're doing the percentage deductible for wind and hail in North Alabama, plus, maybe a minimum deductible of $2,500. Okay, on all perils. What needs to happen now? Next iteration of this. Every single homeowner's policy that gets sold, you have to, in order for the policy to remain in force. This is not a option thing. This is, you got to do this. You get a smart home system that has the little water pucks that goes in all the wet areas. In addition to that, there's 2 kids at Carnegie Mellon that just created, I think a year or 2 ago, which now is a mobile app, that you set a camera up inside your home in the kitchen, and their app, if the camera sees smoke, okay, if it picks up smoke through the Blink camera that's in your house, it automatically notifies you on your phone that you have a fire at your house. Those types of things have to be implemented to tamp down the number of claims, and I think that might keep this thing at least a manageable level. Now, with that said, Rogoff, we love you. I know you need to run. thank you so much for coming in on our show today, okay?
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, you're welcome, brother. Guys, as I end every episode, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass off the phone or computer or looking at Facebook or Twitter or TikTok and go out into the big bad world, build relationships, become the mayor of your village. Shout out to a guy that I think's two guys that are doing a great job of that. First one in Georgia, I believe he's in Loganville. Doug Blevins, shout out to you. You are doing a great job of becoming the mayor of your village over there. He is becoming the insurance guy in his community. Second one, my friend in Great American, Greg Skelf, Knoxville, Tennessee. Is there anybody that's becoming the mayor of their village more than Greg Skelf? Greg's doing a fantastic job, guys. Go out, become the mayor of your village, make money for your family, for your wife, for your husband, for your kids' college fund, for your parents and in-laws that are struggling out there. Go make money for them. Write good business for the agencies that you represent and write good business for the companies that you represent. I love you, Bradley.
Thanks, man.
Hey, guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family. We'll see you again real soon. Take care.